Homer A. Plessy was a citizen of New Orleans who was 1/8 African American. He was arrested for violating the LA Separate Car Act of 1890 that required separated railroad cars for white and non-white travelers.
Get up, stand up.
John Ferguson was the judge in New Orleans who heard the case of Plessy under the Separate Car Act of 1890.
Don't give up the fight.
Plessy tried to sit in an all-white railroad car and refused to sit in the colored car. He was arrested for violating the LA Separate Car Act of 1890 that required separated railroad cars for white and non-white travelers, and was found guilty on the grounds that the law was a reasonable exercise of the state's police powers based upon custom, usage, and tradition in this state. He spent the night in prison and was released the next day on a $500 bond.
Stand up for your right. Get up.
Hey, what you doing in the white section?
In July of 1892, Plessy was heard by Judge John H. Ferguson. Plessy's lawyer argued that Plessy's civil rights had been violated. Ferguson denied his arguments and ruled that the Louisiana state law had the power to set rules which segregated railroads within the state.
Now, does the defendant have any last remarks?
The Louisiana law violated the Equal Protection Clause and was therefore unconstitutional.
The Louisiana state law has the power to set rules which segregate railroads within the state. Now I'm going to let the jury make their decision. The jury hereby declares Homer A. Plessy guilty.
The Louisiana State Court refused a rehearing, so Plessy and his lawyer petitioned the Supreme Court, and 4 years later, in 1896, the Plessy v. Ferguson hearings began. On May 18, 1896, Justice Henry Brown delivered a majority opinion against Plessy. The court's decision was a 7-1 majority. John Marshall Harlan was the only person to vote against the Louisiana state law.
Do you have any final remarks?
I believe that the state violated the 13th and 14th Amendment.
The jury has concluded that Homer A. Plessy is still found guilty. That is right. No!
Plessy was trying to eliminate the Separate Car Act and felt his right to equal protection of laws was violated. The court's decision enforced the separate but equal law. Separate but equal means the black and white could not share facilities, but there had to be the same for each race. This set the precedent for separate facilities for blacks and whites being constitutional as long as they were equal. Separate but equal law was not removed until Brown v. Board of Education in 1954. Plessy v. Ferguson was important to the civil rights movement and was one of the first cases to challenge the segregation and first step towards racial equality. The Separate but Equal Act came into play and African American opportunities increased.
Don't give up the fight. Preacher man, don't tell me heaven is under the earth.